In your email address, you will be getting the slides we are discussing over here. Okay, so literature is a creative work. Okay, and there are several branches of literature, as you see, that is poetry, drama, fiction, non-fiction, and criticism. Poetry is the earliest branch of literature, because whenever people or the artistic people of this world started literature, they started with poetry. Okay, Sir Philip Sidney's Apology for Poetry described that. Okay, after that, and poetry is of two kinds, subjective and objective. Okay? And you have gone through this many kinds of poetry up to this. Okay, that is epic, ballad. Epic is a long narrative poem. Ballad, metrical, romances, lyric, elegy, sonnet, ode, hymn, not hymn, metrical, monologue. These are the epic. Epic is a long narrative poem. Ballad is also a poem consisting of short stanza. Okay, and also metrical romance we will be talking about human emotion. Okay, of course written in verse. There is a difference between poem and prose, is that poem will be written in verse. Okay, so I am talking that you have to reach to up to that fiction. After poetry, drama, we have to go to fiction. Drama, so common thing is that it is a creative work. Drama is a creative work written in verse. Okay, written in verse or dialogue. Okay, and intended to be performed. Poem is a creative work written in. Prose is a creative work written in, not verse, without metrical structure. Okay, so that is drama. And also drama is of two kinds, tragedy and comedy, and several kinds of comedy and tragedy is there. Our concern is over here, fiction. Fiction, the word is derived from the fiction means fictitious writing. Fictions mean imaginary writing. Okay, that means literature in the form of prose, especially novels that describe imaginary events and people. That is fiction. So 20th century English fiction will be dealing with imaginary events or incidents or things like that. So the characters we will be getting in Heart of Darkness that are imaginary, and we will be getting in A Passage to India, the characters are imaginary, through which the writer portrayed a lengthy period consisting of a vast word count, that is fiction. So main thing is that in your viva, of course this question will come to you. What is the definition of fiction? So you will say that fiction is a creative work written without metrical structure. Okay. Or written fiction is an imaginary artistic work written without metrical structure. That is fiction. Novels, short stories, creative writing. That means criticism is also a creative writing. That creative writing covers, that can also be fiction. You are creating, suppose you have written something based with some clues and information, that would be the fiction. And non-fiction, opposite to fiction. So fiction is imaginary, non-fiction is realistic. So non-fiction depends on factual incidents. Okay, if you write the history of, what is the name of your district? Sure, if you write the history of Suriyaspur, there will be no imagination. You have to write that. So historical writing will be non-fiction. Okay, essay may be fictitious or non-fiction. Okay, in that case, if you write an essay about a historical monument, okay, there is a gate over there, Dhaka Gate. If you write an essay based on Dhaka Gate, that would be the non-fiction, because you have nothing imaginary in that. You have to write when it was built, who built that. Okay, you have to write that. So that is the non-fiction. So non-fiction are not there in our syllabus. Rather, in order to understand fiction, we have to understand the non-fiction. So that is the prose. Prose is also can be fictitious. Okay, that we have said. Okay, several examples are there. So biography, autobiography, folktale, myth, these are all are. Alhamdulillah. আপনি কি ক্লাসে আসতে চান? আপনি এই ক্লাসে আসেন আসেন। পরের দিন আসলে কিন্তু আর অ্যালাউ করা হবে না, প্রথম ক্লাসে আপনাকে অ্যালাউ করা হবে। So myth, legend, fable, parable, novel, short story, essay, all are fictitious writing. But if you write the historical writing, that would be non-fiction. So all these, so biography, if you write the life history of mine by someone, that would be biography. Auto means own. Autobiography means যদি আমি নিজেই আমার autobiography. But it is there might have some. It is said that biography and autobiography in many portions that cannot be. That many portion is derived from the imaginary incidents. Okay, so it depends on whether you can write. You can call it fictitious, or you can also call it factual in case of biography or autobiography. If I write something if I write about myself, okay, many things can be imaginary. Okay, so folktale related to the common culture of the common people. Okay, myth is related to the incidents, especially the religious incidents, mythology, like that. Okay, relates to the actual events, that is. And legend, the historical important thing or person. Okay, because you can say that he is a legendary figure. Yeah, legend, a person or thing or a place of great importance, that is called legend. Okay, fable typically with animal. If you have a pet dog, আপনার একটা পোষা বিড়াল আছে, সেই বিড়ালটার নাম পিউ, আপনি যদি তার সম্পর্কে লিখতে যান তাহলে সেটা হয়ে যাবে কি, সেখানে একটা ক্যারেক্টার। ওকে, ফক্স, a fable of the sick lion and the weary fox. Okay, so it's a fable. But fable, there is a difference. Important thing is that there is a moral. Through conveying the animal characters in a fable, the writer is intended to convey a message, that is the moral. There was an ostrich, একটা লোভী উট পাখি ছিল, সেই উট পাখিটা একদিন চুরি করে দিয়ে গরম কিছু খেতে গেল, তারপরে গলা পুড়িয়ে দিল। What is the moral? Don't be so. So the characters of a fable will be animals, but through the animals' characters they want to convey a moral or lesson. Parable, a simple story used to illustrate the moral or spiritual lesson. Okay, the parable of the blind man and the elephant, allegory, moral story, these are the parable. That is the novel. Okay, a fictitious prose narrative of book length. Okay, typically representing character and action with some degree of realism, with some degree of realism. Okay. So you are writing a story. Okay, you can write the imaginary person, name can be imaginary. R.K. Narayan has written many novels, and a place he has used, the place is Malgudi. Yeah, that place is not in India, but he has used this imaginary place in his novel. Okay, so what is the definition of a fiction? What is the definition of a novel? Fiction মানে ফিকশনের জায়গায় নভেল, শর্ট স্টোরি সবই আছে, but whenever you will be dealing about the definition of a novel, that what would be, সবাই পড়েন, a fictitious okay, what is the length of novel? The word count might be 80,000 to 1 lakh, or it may be 40,000 to 50,000 is considered. So below 50,000 word count cannot be considered as novel. What will be the characteristics or the other style of novel? In that case, there is a reading, there is a book written by E.M. Foster, Aspects of a Novel. Okay, I have got this book. I will be sending you that book to you. You will be also finding the aspects of novel order. So there is a book, it's coming out, that is the aspect of the novel. What would be there? In a novel there will be several incidents. There is a specific style of writing drama, and there is a specific style of writing novel, isn't it? Drama is written to be performed on stage, and novel is written to be read aloud or in silent by the reader. Okay, that is prose narrative. Novel will be prose narrative. Okay, the writer E.M. Foster, and E.M. Foster, we have another novel of Access to India as well. Okay, just I am going through the contents of this. Okay, the story. In a novel, of course, there will be a story. Without a story, the novel will not be there. It might be an imaginary story, it might be a realistic story, but you can't take the real name. যদি আপনি নিজের নেমটা দিয়ে লেখেন তাহলে তো যে ব্যক্তিকে নিয়ে লিখছেন সেই ব্যক্তি আপনাকে আঘাতিত করতে পারে। So you can't take imaginary name like আপনি একটা নোভেল লিখেছেন, সেটা প্রধান ক্যারেক্টার হলো কংসু কোয়াঙ্গু। কিন্তু কারণ তার সাথে অবশ্যই কোনো ব্যক্তির চরিত্র মিলবে, এই জন্য some portion will be in real life. But if you use the real name, what would be? That would create a social anarchy, and that anarchy is not the way of making creative work. Creative work is to done to correct the society, to uplift good judgment. There is a novel written in that novel. Sorry, I have forgotten the name. In the novel, the main character has said that I am true to my conscience. I am true to my conscience. So one character said that I am true to my conscience. What does it mean? It means that the reader who will be reading this very novel, they will be dealing with the same notion that they are true to their conscience. Many people claim that character that he is a sinner, but that character says, who I am, I know it well. So one thing I have to convey, that means I have to true to my conscience, because human being is the noblest creation of Almighty, and for this reason he has conscience. Human being has conscience, but other will not have the conscience. For this reason you have to true to your conscience. So that character will say that I am true to my conscience. What does it mean? It means that he will say that in a society, every person who will be reading that novel, they will say that I am true to my conscience. So there will be a story in every novel, is it? Without a story, no novel. People means characters. Okay, there will be a protagonist, there will be an antagonist. Okay, একজন থাকবে villain, একজন থাকবে কে? People means character. A plot. The story, of course, a story. What is the difference between plot and story? Most probably you have studied biography or literature or another literary principle. Did you have that course? There you have got the definition of plot, isn't it? Okay, so story that means I heard and paternal uncle, that uncle's father's name was that, and he did this. That is the general description of a story. But what is the plot? Write down. Plot is the artistic arrangement of a story. Plot is the artistic Plot is the artistic arrangement of a story. So গল্প সবাই বলতে পারে, নভেলিস্ট সবাই হয় না। তার মানে কি গল্পের আপনি কিভাবে শুরু করবেন সেটা নির্ভর করবে হচ্ছে যেমন আমাদের নভেলা হাঁটা এখান থেকে শুরু হয়েছে একটা ক্যারেক্টার দিয়ে নেলি একটা জাহাজের everybody can tell a story, but everybody can't be an artistic writer. So the plot, the definition of plot will be the artistic arrangement of a story. The novelist will arrange the story with his creative activities and with the touch of his artistic creation, and that would be the plot. Okay, that would be there. And also fantasy. Fantasy is related to imagination. Okay, and fantasy will be the combination of some real and some imaginary. Okay, and fantasy can also be called the magic realism. So with the combination of real and with the combination of real and imagination, the novelist will create a situation that would think, that the reader would think, oh no, this incident cannot be happen. Willing suspension of disbelief. That means you think that oh, this incident cannot be happen. Still, na holeo hote pare. I thought that I started flying off the 3-storied building. আমি চিন্তা করছিলাম যে সেই সময় আমি 3তলা বিল্ডিং এর উপরে উঠতেছি। Is it possible? Yes. Is it possible if you are in a frustrated condition, if you are in a happy mood? মানুষ বন্ধুদের সঙ্গে আড্ডা দেয় কখন? দুটো কারণে। When they will be very much happy, oh let's have a party at Hotel Sheraton. Okay, when they will also be sad. So in case of sad, the activities of our mind will be subconscious, and in subconscious mind's activities will be dealing such kind of incidents. Okay, so that would be the fantasy. And the prophecy will be telling what is gonna happen future. Okay, that is prophecy. Pattern and rhythm, that would be also be there. That is what would be the pattern, in which way নভেল দুটো ভাবে লেখা যায়। চ্যাপ্টার 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 এরকম করে কয়েকটা চ্যাপ্টার থাকে। কেউ আবার লেখে পার্ট 1, পার্ট 2, পার্ট 3 এভাবে। সো কোন প্যাটার্ন উনি ফলো করেছেন, যে কোনো একটা প্যাটার্ন তাকে ফলো করতে হবে। Okay, this book I will be giving you in your email address. You will be reading in details of that. So that is about novel. And whenever we will be talking about novel, we have to talk about novella. উপন্যাস সম্পর্কে বললেন, উপন্যাসিকা সম্পর্কে বলবেন না। novel is novella, noveler থেকে ছোট। What is the word count of a novel? একটু আগে বললাম 40,000, মিনিমাম হচ্ছে 40,000 থেকে 50,000 will be the word count of a novel. In case of novella, that would be, the characteristics will be same of a novel. That means the structure, pattern, story will be there, but the word count will be 10,000 to 40,000. Okay, or in some cases it can be optional, the novelette, the word count be between 7,500 and 17,000. Okay, that would be the novella. So novella, what is the definition? That is the work of fiction intermediate in length and complexity between a short story and a novel. Whenever you will be watching a movie based on a novel, many of you start crying. এমন একটা সিচুয়েশনে গিয়েছে, just like a movie তারে জামিন পার, and many times I start watching the movie and the water starts dropping from my eyes. Okay, so that is the emotion. That means the situation is so complex that you thought that anything might happen over there, but in case of a novella, the emotion or the incidents will be less complex, and also length will be shorter than novella. That is novella. And also the short story. Short story, our concern is not the short story, still we have to know the definition. A short story, a fully developed theme, but significantly shorter and less elaborate than a novel or novella. Word count koto? 5,000 to 10,000. Still, many short stories can also be 1,000 words, 2,000 words. Short story might be 500 words. Short story, very short. But there would be fictitious. Short story will also be fictitious. Fictitious means? So these are the thing. With essays will be there. Essays, some things, literary criticism also. But our concern will not be there. So we have talked that literature is a creative work, and poetry, drama, fiction, all are the part of literature. In that case, fiction is also a part of literature, and novel is a fictitious creative work, and the word count is 80,000 to 1 lakh, or it may be 40,000 to 50,000. In a novel, there will have some characteristics. Of course, there will be a plot. Of course, there will have some characters. Of course, there will have some fantasy. Of course, there will have some prophecy, and of course, there will have some structure pattern in which way we have written. But that why novel is written? Novel is written to get the reader the information about a society, about incidents, about a thing, and etc. Okay, so we will be taking the questions if you have any questions.